Your car is a pretty complex machine, right? But here's the thing. It's not silent. It almost always gives you warning signs long before major disaster happens. So today, we're going to break down the car doctor's guide to the 5 problems you should never, ever ignore. So let me ask you this. Have you ever been driving along, the radio is off, and suddenly you hear a weird new noise? Or maybe a light pops up on the dash and you feel that little jolt of panic? Well, that's your car talking to you, and learning its language, that can save you a ton of trouble and a whole lot of cash. And that's really the bottom line, isn't it? Ignoring these things isn't just wishful thinking, it's a huge gamble. A small, easy to fix issue can seriously snowball into thousands of dollars in engine damage. So, yeah, being proactive, it's just the smartest play for your car and your wallet. Okay, let's dive right in with number 1, probably the most common sign of all, that little orange engine symbol. Yeah, officially, it's the malfunction indicator lamp. But come on, we all just call it the check engine light, right? And let me be clear, it's not a suggestion. It's basically your car shouting, hey, pay attention. This is such a classic mistake, and we've all been tempted to make it. The light comes on, but the car seems to be driving just fine, so we think, I'll get to it later. And then days or even weeks go by. But here's the deal. Just because it feels fine doesn't mean there isn't something serious brewing under the hood. So, what's that light actually trying to tell you? Well, it's a general alert, so it could be a few different things. You might have an engine misfire, basically a cylinder isn't doing its job. It could be a bad sensor, feeding the car's computer the wrong information, or you could have an issue with the fuel system. None of those are things you want to just let slide. And believe me, the consequences, they just get worse over time. At first, you might just notice your fuel mileage stinks. But if you leave it, that small problem can cause real engine damage and, eventually, leave you stranded on the side of the road with a car that won't start at all. So listen up, because this is the car doctor's number 1 rule for the check engine light. It's super simple. If the light is blinking, that's a serious problem. We're talking pull over safely and turn off the engine now serious. If the light is solid, it's not quite as urgent, but you still need to get it checked out as soon as you can. All right, coming in at number 2 is a big one. And this one is all about using your ears. Strange engine noises. A healthy engine has a nice, smooth hum. When that hum turns into something else, it's a cry for help from your car's mechanical parts. And you don't have to be a master mechanic to pick up on these. Just listen for 3 specific types of sounds. A deep, rhythmic knocking, a harsh, metallic grinding, or a high-pitched, piercing squealing. Each of those sounds is a clue to a different problem. So what do those sounds mean? Well, that knocking noise could mean you're dangerously low on engine oil, and your engine parts are basically starving for lubrication. That squealing, that's often a worn-out belt that's about to snap. And a grinding sound could point to damaged bearings, which are critical for letting things rotate smoothly. And here's the key tip for any weird noise. If it gets louder or faster when you accelerate, that's a huge red flag. It means the problem is tied directly to your engine's moving parts. Don't put it off. Get it into a shop right away. Okay, on to problem number 3. And this one is an absolute car killer. An overheating engine. Your engine has to operate in a very precise temperature window. When that gauge starts climbing into the red, you are moments away from causing catastrophic, and I mean catastrophic, damage. So why does an engine overheat? Well, it's usually a problem in the cooling system. It could be something as simple as low coolant, or maybe you've got a leak in the radiator or a hose. Another common culprit is a thermostat that's stuck closed, which blocks the coolant from circulating like it's supposed to. If you see that temperature gauge climbing and your first thought is, oh, I can probably make it home, stop right there. You're playing a game with some of the most expensive repairs possible. Driving hot can easily blow a head gasket, or even worse, warp the entire engine block, basically turning your engine into a giant metal taperweight. Now, this is probably the most important safety tip of the day. If your car starts to overheat, pull over safely, shut off the engine, and just let it sit. Let it cool down completely. And whatever you do, do not try to open the radiator cap when it's hot. Seriously, don't do it. That system is under extreme pressure and can spray scalding fluid everywhere. All right, moving on to number 4. We've talked a lot about the engine, but let's be real. Nothing is more critical to your safety than your brakes. If your car is trying to tell you something's wrong with them, it's not a suggestion. It is an urgent warning you have to listen to. Your car usually gives you clues through sound and feel. That awful, high-pitched screeching, that's often the wear indicator on your brake pads telling you they're done. If you feel a vibration or a shudder through the pedal when you brake, your rotors might be warped. And if the pedal feels soft or spongy, well, you could have a fluid leak. Because when it comes to ignoring brake problems, the number one consequence is simple, and it's terrifying. Total brake failure. Just imagine pressing down on that pedal and having it sink to the floor while absolutely nothing happens. That's a nightmare scenario, and it's exactly why you can't ignore these warnings. The car doctor really nails it with this one. A new set of brake pads? It's a pretty affordable repair, all things considered. But an accident? The cost of that can be astronomical, not just in money, but in every other way too. So really, it's a very simple choice. And for our fifth and final problem, you don't need to listen or feel for anything. You just have to look. The smoke coming out of your exhaust pipe can tell you a whole story about your engine's health. Now, a little white vapor on a cold start is totally normal, but thick, colored smoke that sticks around, that's a different story. Think of this as a super simple color code for your engine's insides. If you see bluish smoke, it means oil is getting burned up, maybe from worn piston rings. Black smoke means the engine's burning way too much fuel. And thick white smoke, not the normal morning vapor, usually means coolant is leaking into the engine, which could be a sign of a blown head gasket. So how do you know if it's a real problem? Here's the simple rule of thumb. If you're still seeing that colored smoke puffing out after the car has been running for a while and is fully warmed up, that's your sign. It's time to get it looked at by a pro. And that really brings everything together, doesn't it? Cars very rarely just die out of the blue. There's almost always a warning period first. A light, a noise, a feeling, a smell. Your car is constantly giving you feedback on how it's doing. So, it all comes down to this. Those warning systems are there for a reason. Being a smart driver isn't about knowing how to rebuild an engine. It's about paying attention. It's about listening to what your car is trying to tell you. The question is, will you?